Hi, this is Erica from G&M Retro, and today I'm going to be doing a tabletop review on the SNES controller from Tomee. And this is a good replacement for your Super Nintendo controller, and it's also inexpensive. So this is the box. On the front there's a picture of the controller, and on the back there's just a picture, a little diagram showing the different controls. So I'm gonna open it up and see what is inside. So this is the controller, and as you can see, it's pretty much identical to the original Super Nintendo controller, except that it doesn't have the Super Nintendo logo on it. And there's the back. So it does feel slightly lighter than the original, but it still pretty much feels the same in the hand, but it's made out of a sturdy PVC and ABS plastic. In terms of controls, they did a really good job replicating the original. As you can see, the buttons stick out from the face almost exactly the same as they do on the original Nintendo controller, and the L and R buttons have a nice spring to them. So one of the nice things about this third-party controller that you don't see very often is they actually replicated the rubber start and select buttons like the original one. So this was a really nice addition that they added to it. So the D-pad feels really nice in your hand. It's got a nice spring to it, and your thumb transitions nicely in the different directions. And as you can see too, they even added a texture to it to replicate the original. The X, Y, B, and A buttons are really nice and smooth. The only difference is that they make a slightly louder clicking noise, but that's compared to original worn out Super Nintendo controller. And just to add in, some people do complain that with the third-party controllers you'll get a strange action on the screen when you press the center of the D-pad. But I haven't noticed that at all with this controller, and last week I played 8 hours of A Link to the Past with this exact same controller. And also with some of the third-party controllers, they'll use what appears to be a cheap sticker around the Y, X, B, and A buttons. But on this controller, it's really hard to tell, and if they did, you'd have to try to pick it off with a knife. So this is a really good replica. The only difference is a slight variation in the color. So this is the connector for the Tomee controller. As you can see, it looks identical to the original, except that it doesn't have the Nintendo logo on it. So it clicks nicely right into the port, the controller port on the original Super Nintendo Entertainment System. To sum it up, I'm going to give you some pros and cons that I found with the Tomee controller. For cons, it does feel a little lighter and cheaper than an OEM, but you cannot expect Nintendo quality from a controller priced under $10. For pros, it's extremely inexpensive, and the buttons and the feel of the controller in your hand is almost identical to the original. And it's great how they used rubber start and select buttons. So overall, it's a great replica of the OEM Super Nintendo controller. And these are available at our online store at www.gmretro.com.